All right, so my name is Nathan John, Implementation Manager at Alertus. Some of you already know me. I have worked with quite a number of you guys. I see some familiar names. For those of you who don't know me, well, here I am. So today's topic is how to improve mobile alerting. Fun topic. Here's our agenda for today. It's not a long one, but I'll basically be introducing you to the app, and I'll be showing you how to get this app set up. And then I'll take you through how to activate it and how to assign it to groups. So you can see how flexible we are. Just a few things before we dive into today's material. We do have a portal, a customer-facing portal that you can access at my.alertus.com. Here is where you are able to get product documentation, download your software, look at our knowledge base, basically find information on just about any product that we have. You are also able to create support tickets, track its status, good stuff. We also have, you can also reach out to our support at support@alertus.com, and you can reach us via phone. Here is a preview of what our portal looks like. Quick note, we are migrating to a new portal. So once you log in, you will be greeted with a huge banner that says we are moving, and you will be provided with a link. But the yellow section up top shows different sections of our portal. Each section speaks for itself. We have a search engine, and item number 3 shows you how to go about creating a support ticket, checking its status, or just giving us a ring. So the Alertus mobile recipient app. What is it? It allows users basically, and I'm saying basically because we do have a few things that we could do with this app, but its primary function, what's going on with my words today, is to get alerts into the hands of your mobile users. Wherever they are, you download the app, it's configured, and whenever a situation is activated on your premises, notifications are pushed to your users. Quick note, as I cycle through, my mobile image will change. This just illustrates different features and sections of our app. So if you see anything of interest, just please do let us know during our Q&A session. So first thing, am I licensed? As long as you are an ENS customer, that answer would be yes. And to tell if you're licensed, you simply log into your portal, go to your support page, click into it, and scroll down to our licensing section. There you should see mobile recipient app with a green check mark. If it's a red X, then you're not licensed, and you should reach out to us in order to take advantage of this pretty easy to implement feature. So key features of the Alertus mobile recipient app. We can do threat watcher for tracking pandemic alerts, of course, help you to see if you've come into contact with anyone. Like I mentioned earlier, you could receive push notifications to your device whenever an alert is triggered. We can do custom tones. You could choose to use your user's default ringtones, or you can do a custom tone. We can view up to 20 recent alerts in our notification tab. We can do weather alerting. And a few other things which I'll take you through when I get to that. So how can I get the app? Getting the app is really easy. You go to the Google Play Store or Apple App Store, and you simply look up Alertus. And it will be, we have 2 apps. One is an activator, a mobile activator app. The other is our recipient app, which is today's focus. And our recipient app has a yellow icon. So orangish kind of yellow icon, you download that, and I'll take you through how we get that set up. All right, so key features continued. I might have had one slide out of place, but just moving right along, we can do custom languages. We can do request for help, which could be anonymous. We do allow users to take photos when reporting an incident. They can tag their locations. So let's say you have a campus, for example, and you'd want to enable your students to report incidents as they may arise. This is a really neat feature to allow them to do so. The app does support text-to-speech, which takes advantage of your mobile device's text-to-speech engine. So when an alert comes in, like in this graphic that I have up, the text-to-speech service will read this alert out loud, and it's really good for visually impaired persons. Signing up to the app could also be as easy as scanning a QR code. So no putting in username and passwords and that kind of thing. Pretty easy setup. Good. So with that said, let's get to configuring our app. So I'm over on my server. Now, there are a couple things during a mobile setup that we usually ask. So an implementation manager like myself, I may ask you, give me a code that you'd like to associate with your organization, password, and I'll ask you a couple other features, some neat things that we can do with our app. Because you can simply download the app from our Play Store, one of your concerns may be, so how do I protect my organization from some random Joe downloading your app and joining my organization? We can do passwords, PIN codes, and we tend to advise that you restrict signups to your email domain only. So if your organization has an email domain of acme.org, then any email that's signing up should be user@acme.org. So it helps ensure that no one outside of your organization is able to join. Good. So let us take a look at, so you've got your device downloaded. We've given you some credentials to get your services set up. Let's take a quick look at those services, what they look like. Then I'll take you through grouping. So our service is simply a way of configuring your server to make use of Alertus Mobile. So here is an example of a service setup. We will send this to you in a document, or perhaps we'll jump on a call, get this done. And once this is done and we test, this worked a little while ago, but it should be an easy fix. Once we get this set up, we are pretty good to go. Once that is done, now we move over to our groups. So how do we target our end users? So pre-configured, I have a group which I've associated with our mobile service. So any members who are a part of the all users and devices group have already gone ahead and enabled mobile access. To do that, you go to groups, you edit your group, you go to advanced settings, and you scroll down. First you turn on mobile access, then you allow subscriptions. And then we could do a couple other things. So in this example, my server is set to auto subscribe. So anyone signing up with the app in your organization, they are automatically created as a member of this group. They're automatically joined to this group. That's one scenario. Let's take a look at another scenario. Let's say, for example, you had members of your emergency response team, and you'd like to enable mobile access to them, but you'd like to restrict it so only authorized users are able to join your response team. Let's set this up. Really simple. We edit our group. We go to advanced settings. We enable mobile. Name override is just an alias that you can assign to your group. So Bear in mind our group name, it's Response Team. If you wanted to make that Acme's Response Team, we can give it an alias. Next, we are going to enable subscriptions. This button allows you to control your subscriptions, as its name suggests. So why is it here? Why, after checking this box, doesn't it automatically turn this on? Let's say you have all of your, this group is already populated with all of your emergency response members. At some point in time, you may just want to disable subscriptions, barring anyone else from potentially joining. But you do also have the option of assigning a PIN code. For sake of simplicity, I'll just do a 4-digit PIN code. So now anyone attempting to join, actually I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyone attempting to subscribe to this group, they need to enter a PIN code. And because we're using a PIN code, we're going to leave auto subscribe disabled. So I'm going to go ahead and save this group. Success. Good. So now that we have 2 groups, let me do this group too. Nice. So this group has no PIN, this group has a PIN, and this group is auto subscribe. So now that my groups are set up and I've associated the mobile service with these groups, it's important to note that members of these groups then receive your notifications once activated. So for purposes of this demonstration, I've already gone ahead and configured 2 preset alerts that have mobile services attached to them. This is my evacuation order and my alert for my South Campus. So at this point in time, before activating anything, I'm going to stop sharing this screen. I'm going to switch to my mobile device, and I'll give you a demonstration of how we get our service set up. Our app setup, apologies. So if you can see my mobile screen, I've already gone ahead and downloaded the app. I have the Alertus Activator app and the Alertus app. Getting set up is pretty straightforward. So when asking your users to download the app, it's pretty straightforward. We click, we get started, and we enter our organization's code. This will be provided to you by Alertus. In my case, it's simply Nathan's demo. I hit continue, and I'm greeted with this page. I enter my PIN and my email, and I hit register. After this, an email will be sent to me that I'll then need to get verified. And once I click on my verification email, it then takes me forward through the application. So let me check my email. I see it. I'm clicking no. And it takes me forward. So here we are. These are our groups that we've created on our server. As you can see, I'm automatically subscribed to all users and devices. Now, what if I wanted to join the response team? So this is what I do. I select it. I say, OK. And it didn't ask me for my PIN, so I might have to go back and do that over. Or South Campus has a PIN. So let's say I wanted to subscribe to my South Campus group. I select that. I enter my PIN. I say OK, and I'm now a member of that. So nice and easy. Hopefully, our little hiccup did not hinder us too much. But here we go. Now I'm in my app. It's fully configured, and we can do a couple of things. My contact icon has a number associated with it. So if you'd like to have your users, for example, in the event of an emergency, dial an emergency number, you tell us what that is, we get that configured. I hit that button and they'll dial our emergency number. previous alerts. I can click the alerts button, see what that is. And I have some incidents that I could report. Now, for purposes of this exercise, this is not set up because I work from home and I don't have a firewall to do fancy configs. But within your organization, we'll tell you what configurations to get done in your firewall. Basically, it's incoming traffic destined to your server should be forwarded and get processed. But we could, I'm going to click request help. And my location is hidden for purposes of this demo, but clicking on tap to set incident location will grab your GPS. And we could also take a picture. So clicking on my camera icon, I'll be able to take a pic and attach a picture along with my incident. So all pretty straightforward stuff. Moving across to the second icon from our bottom, this is our alerts icon. Here are our groups. So if your organization configures additional groups, they'll show up. And our settings page basically tells us some additional, what our settings are. And here we can enable text to speech and threat watcher. Again, it's asking for location. So in order for this to work, a location has to be turned on. Good, so let me send an activation to my phone and you'll see what that looks like. Because I'm on a Zoom, I won't be able to turn my screen off, but let me still send an activation. So I'm going to send an evacuation order, hit continue. I'm confirming it on my server. You're not able to see it. It's on my other screen, but you will see my activation come in. Now, a couple application behaviors that you should be aware of. There we go. So here's our evacuation order that I just sent from my server. So I'm going to cancel that. And I'm going to confirm this message. Now I'm going to take you back to our server so we could see what's happened with this event. Awesome. So now that we are back on our server, we have a so what. So we've sent an activation. Let's take a look at a device activations report 1. So we can see our time. An alert was just sent. That's our evacuation order. And it went to a couple devices, which got acknowledged. Now, your mobile devices won't show up in your device activations report, but they will show up in your user alert recipients. Grab the correct, let's go back to my console. User alert recipients report. Here's where you'd be able to see a list of your mobile users who would have gotten your report and whether they acknowledged it or not. I'm having all sorts of troubles today, aren't I? There we go. Took a while. So here we go. Here's a report summary of what was sent. And of course, was it activated? Was it acknowledged? Yes. My user should have come in. It's a strange day, but this is all populated and you are able to see devices that are activated, who acknowledged it, who received it, really useful information. Of course, if we were also sending an activation from our mobile phone, reporting an incident from our mobile phone, then a bit beyond the scope of today's call, but an implementation manager like myself, we'd set up custom event triggers to capture and a preset alert to capture your image, display that, capture any messages that come in, and so on. So We had a few hiccups, but this brings me to the end of my presentation. I'd like to now hand over to Andral, and we'll field your questions.
Great, awesome. Just a few questions. The first question is, can my organization use multiple codes? And why may we want to do so?
Okay, that's a good question. So let's first understand what are codes. A code is simply a way to identify your organization. So when your user signs into the app, like I did initially, I had to enter a code. That's like, it's just an identifier, it's a name. So the answer is yes, your organization can use multiple codes, but why? Let's assume you're a school, for example, and you'd want to have one code for your students, and you'd like to use another code for staff because staff, they're assigned to different groups, and maybe you don't want to manage a bunch of pins. So you can give staff their own code to sign in. They'll have a completely different set of groups that would show up in their app. But your students, for example, they're more than likely going to be subscribed to the all students app. Another use case for this is if you have multiple sites that you manage, you may want to give each site their own code. So it's pretty clearly laid out in your console. When we go to groups, you'd have multiple codes. So in this case, this is Nathan's demo. This can easily be your organization's name. This could easily be a site belonging to your organization, and so on and so forth. I hope that answers your question.
Thanks, Nathan. The next question is, can I set a custom alert ringtone for incoming messages?
The simple answer to that is yes. So on your service, we do have the ability to do a custom tone. So by default, it uses whatever ringtone your users have for their phones. But if we wanted to, we could customize that with a few tones of our own, beeps, chimes, emergency tones. So the answer to that definitely is yes.
Great, thank you so much. So we'll take our last question here. Can users use the app to report incidents?
Yes, so like I attempted to demo, but I can't because I don't have a firewall at my house that forwards traffic to my server. But essentially, yes. So we had Fire, we had a bunch of icons in our presentation. I have a demo of it. So you could use these icons to report an incident. And once your environment is set up for it, absolutely yes, we'll configure your custom trigger, custom event triggers and get that set up and tested for you.